Welcome to the Flicks Picks in the Nitpicks. I am your host, Nove718, man. And we just gonna have to get it today and get the couple stuff out the way because, like I always say, this channel is not at all made for anyone 18 and younger. You need the supervision of a proper adult, and anybody that's 21 and older. That is actually what this show has been designed for. 18 and older is still adequate, but 21 and older is what this format is made for. Now that all of that is out of the way, let's get on with the show. So the Batman, the first trailer came out, just showcasing the costume and whatnot. I already had seen the picture show up online. I try not to get too in depth into it, but I actually listened to what people were saying about it because I just couldn't wait to hear what people say about it. But I really wanted to sit down for the first time and actually give a proper analysis with you guys on my channel. So I'm gonna preface it this way: from what I've seen, I'm not mad at it. I don't hate it from what I saw. But to give a proper analysis, we're gonna watch it all together. But like I said, from what I've seen, it wasn't that bad. There's certain things that I actually like, and that's pretty much tied to what I heard it was prefaced with. The fact that this is supposed to be a certain type of Batman, a Batman that they wanted the suit to look like someone realistically could hosh-posh put it together. Highly practical in that type of sense. And I already noticed some of the stitch work into it, kind of a la Catwoman. And I'm seeing the comparisons as far as other comparisons. Charlie Cox in the Daredevil costume. So I want to talk a little bit about that and get into the nitpick section of it. But just in broad strokes, so far, that's what I've seen. Now, we're going to go watch it together, but in terms of the Matt Reeves film, I'm not exactly that excited. I've actually been on the record for it. No particular reason. I got a little bit better when I realized that he did the movie Let Me In, because that's actually a dark film built on a lot of mood and tension. So that actually interests me more than the Planet of the Apes. And he didn't do the whole trilogy that people seem to assume. So he came in on 2 and 3. I didn't see 3, but I saw 2. So I'm really only working off 2 films. So like to me, I never really was that interested. I mean, like excited with the director. But like I said, I keep forgetting he did Let Me In, and that is a hard film to really do. And in terms of getting attention and things of that nature, and now to think about it, I could see why he would have went with Robert Pattinson in his own kind of weird way, kind of like the relationship with Johnny Depp and Tim Burton. You could kind of see why they relate. I could kind of see looking at that film and then seeing from what I heard that Robert Pattinson been doing on the low, but also his physical aesthetic, because I thought aesthetically he never looked like Batman or Bruce Wayne to me. He could play another vampire, but I just didn't see that. A lot of people felt that if you watch his other films, and I actually downloaded a few of his films, or at least 2, I think, of his new films, and I really want to go check out so I can at least be prepped for what he's been working on in the past. And like I said, I'm a big Ben Affleck advocate for what he's done in the film, especially since people being just like he got berated for his portrayal and a lot of decisions that I don't want to get caught up in this video about. But I was a big advocate for him. But I have to be honest, when they said Ben Affleck, I just couldn't see the shit. I was like, Ben Affleck, till the pictures came out him in the suit. I don't feel the same thing with this one per se, but it's not really the most clearest of pictures like Zack Snyder had given us. So I'm going to be fair. Now with all that out the way, let's just go check out the trailer together, or the little, I'm hearing it's more like a suit fitting, and let's just take it from there. I ain't seeing anything. Okay. Oh, they weren't lying. This is hella out of fucking focus. looks very Arkham. That's it. Maybe I need to change the brightness, but the actual photo stills look a whole lot more detailed. There's not really much you can say about it. Everything that everyone's been complaining about, like I said, I'm gonna adjust the brightness on this just so I can make sure that I'm not missing anything. But my first, you could barely see anything. I mean, the actual photos are a lot better, which we're gonna do that in the nitpick portion of it, because that's where you can actually see like more of the high res details. But not much to say going off of the trailer, or rather the first look of the fitting. So let's check it again. You know, cue this bad boy up and go. Like 9 seconds in, and now you start see it coming in. All right, now he's walking. All right, it's a little bit better. All right, I needed to adjust the whatchamacallit on it. Okay, the brightness. Okay. All right, it's functional. You can see it like shifting up. Oh, it has collars on the car. So now I see what people say. That's going to probably be able to make them drink it all the way around. I'm not exactly entirely impressed. It looks a lot better now that I see it in motion. I see the sections shifting around, so it's going to be armor. It really looks like it's taking a lot of cues from Arkham. Now the question is, are he's going to have the long ears? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because the first time we've seen it with Ben Affleck was the stubby ears. Are they going to go back to that, or are they going to get the long ears? It looks like he has knives in the chest. A lot of people been out there online suggested that there's rumor mills about it being the actual made out of the gun that killed his parents. Some people are getting mad about it. I'm like, it's not canon. It's like, no, this is their rendition of Batman, and would it really be that far off? I mean, this is a billionaire that's wearing like PJs running around. Well, now tactical PJs running around on rooftops, you know, fighting crime because his parents died. Like this is where I think that the fan base is just kind of going off the fucking deep end. You know, like arguments about Martha. He heard his mother's name, and that would make him stop in his tracks before sparing someone. And I'm like, well, is it really that far off? I mean, this guy is literally a millionaire running around in PJs fighting crime. I mean, does it really seem that he might not do that? Like, I mean, is that too far off the rails for him? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people, I really feel like they kind of went the way of ridiculous in terms of how they judge Batman, the character. They're kind of over suggesting that, well, he shouldn't be doing this, he shouldn't be doing that, based on your discernment of the character. But it's not, the movie's not made out of your discernment of the character. It's going to take the major tenets, and then they're going to create a story around it that's going to set in the world that they design, not the world that you design. Don't get me wrong, I'm a firm believer that these characters should stay true to the characters. That's something I'm big about. I mean, in the name of artistic creativity, you're always going to see them utilize the same characters for each generation. It's going to be tweaks, especially as we move forward as a society. So it's going to have to, you're not going to have the same kind of Tim Burton-esque style, the same Tim Burton style. You're cues from it, because a lot of things that people are building on the preset that he created. But nevertheless, they're gonna this is the direction that they're going to try to go. And from what I understand, that they're going to try to give a gray and blue-esque tone. So it's going to be real dark, but it's going to be a real, like a deep navy blue. But you're going to see that it's really blue, which is cool because it'll make it kind of jump out in the dark. So as long as it's so dark, but that it could blend in the night, but blue enough that it'll shine a certain kind of way in certain highlights. And the way the cowl is designed, I think it's going to be where you're going to really see Batman utilizing the silhouette style of the whole cape being wrapped all the way around him. Like, I really see the collars that people was talking about, because it was like, yo, he got collars? I'm like, huh? Now I see what they're talking about, and it's also going to be able to move his head around in a more practical way, as opposed to be all the way molded from his head all the way down to the neck, without any way for him to really kind of rotate his head in a realistic manner to actually be doing any kind of fight scenes. It looks like he's really going to be wearing a legit costume in the manner in which that as realistic as a person that can makeshift put it together. Now, people are complaining that, oh, well, he's from Wayne Enterprises, etc., etc. But we got to also remember he spent a lot of time out there trying to live a realistic life in terms of, like, if you look at Batman Begins, during his hiatus of becoming a ninja and stuff, he's actually traveled. So he's not, he didn't use he used his ingenuity to get around during that time, as opposed to using his family money and using the Wayne name the way it was. That's why they try to allude it to the fact that he was never really a quote-unquote thief. He was stealing his own product. But at the same time, you're still kind of stealing because it was also shared by, you know, partners, etc., etc. But, you know, that's when you want to get into the ambiguity of things. But needless to say, I mean, from what I see, I like it for what they're trying to portray. Now, the whole idea about how you look like Charlie Cox is because Charlie Cox got a certain type of feature that when they put the mask on, it made his features stand out. So that's why the helmet looked kind of awkward. It was never favorable to his features, his personal features, because he's got a certain feature set that's not like, I hate to say not the norm. It didn't upplay the features that you wanted to showcase as a superhero. When you look at Robert Pattinson's profile, even though he's been labeled the most beautiful, scientifically beautiful person, I guess, or male, whatever the fuck that shit is, I don't really care, by way of science and all of that, about the symmetry of his face. His nose is kind of pushed in. He has no real nose bridge that's pronounced. Like, it kind of goes down and it's kind of in. So when you have a profile that his nose doesn't kind of protrude as much, it kind of just goes down into his face, and his chin may stand out a little bit, that if not more so because of it. That's why they're like, oh, he has a Batman chin. But yeah, like, I guess, but when you put the mask on, it's gonna look like his nose goes in. So, and it's going to look like the forehead's just going to stick out more. Because his features is like that. That's just his features. His forehead is that. He got a square forehead that is more protrusive than his actual nose. His nose just goes down from the forehead kind of down. And when you make the mask, it's going to stand out. It's going to make like it's kind of flat inward. And I think that's why it's kind of having that weird look, which was kind of like how Charlie Cox looked in the Daredevil suit. That's why a lot of people always say the Daredevil suit never all the way did it for him. It's because the suit didn't flatter his face. It always looked like it was uncomfortable on him, and it looked odd. Like, I think they could have went with something. I understand they wanted to go with more of a helmet design, but I think they could have worked with something a lot more sleeker. And if you had to make it helmet, play with it a little bit more, so it could flatter his face. Because the thing is, in all actuality, it didn't. It would have looked, that costume would have probably came off more with someone who had a face that would flatter that type of costume. Charlie Cox's facial features just didn't flatter the helmet, and I think it's even more so because his face actually has that even more so in spades, if you ask me, in the way that stands out more. And now that he did that, they put the costume on, it just makes the front part of his head stick out more than his actual nose. So it just looked like he's mad headstrong, like he'll headbutt the shit out of you. You know what I mean? And I think that was I don't know if you'll say a design flaw, but it was a byproduct of how his head is made up, his facial features made up. And I'm not saying that to be an insult. It's just that it was going to be harder to translate it. That's why I always thought he facially didn't look like it. But you know what? If he acts the part, yada yada yada, he might actually sell it. It's just like right now, I'm just still not impressed, excited. I'm more interested in what Ben Affleck was gonna do. You know what I'm saying? But the Batman, I'm no more. Let's put this. I'm no more excited than I am about any other comic book film. That's really how I look at it. I love comic book movies. I'm always gonna support it. It's not that deep with me. I'm not gonna lose my shit over it like other people. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have my life and my future tied to the movie. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna lose it. But at the same time, I do understand how people could feel that it just doesn't feel like it's a match for what they were looking for. And, you know, fair enough. You know, but now if we could just get into the picks, if you will, and nitpick the actual big detailed pictures that they actually put out, so we can at least walk that one over and see what we think about it. So now let's actually have the fun part of this, the nitpicks. There's black and whites picks that they actually posted up too, but we're gonna look at the red picks. But the black and whites are pretty much the same one, but it's basically there. I guess it just changed the mood. But if you look real close up on the bat symbol, they don't have the bat ears. It's just really the wings you're actually gonna notice. And like I said, it's very reminiscent of Arkham. The Arkham film. Video game series. It does look like it pops out, and you can take it out and use it as a dagger. It doesn't look like a batarang thing, because some people say maybe that's where he could take out the batarang and throw it. It looked like it's a knife, though. That's what it looked like. It looked like it's two utility knives of some sort. I did notice, if you look in the trailer, you see the hinges on the shoulders actually like shift up like gears, so he can actually move in that portion. Now it seemed like most of it is gonna be the shells will be, and the padding is in the chest. Like the armor is more chest. They didn't really show too much in the midsection exactly when he was walking in, so it's very possible that they'll have the same gears as you see on the shoulders, so when he moves his shoulders up, that it can actually give and take with it and slide where it needs to. It may just do that where in the abdominal section where he crunches, so it'll be like a composite of many small pieces that shift around in accordance to how his body moves, as opposed to it being some sort of a leotard that you can say is mostly the fabric that is protecting him, as opposed to basically shells and what you would call it, paddings and actual guards and armors in small pieces, so that it underneath where the fabric would be, so it could stretch and give for him. The actual armor will slide around in where it needs to be, so that it still protects him exactly where he needs to be protected as he's moving. So he's armored as he moves around, so for mobility. Now it's possible that's what it's going to be, in mimicking from what we actually seen with the shoulder when he was moving his shoulder. And that would be a fascinating approach, maybe extremely detailed, but what's wrong with the detailing? From what, like I said, from what I understand, it's gonna be gray and dark blue. But when I say gray, maybe like a certain type of metallic. You know what I mean? Dark, but enough that you'll know that it's still like a gray or a carbon or granite, and it'll be like a real dark midnight bluish, or something with blue highlights, pretty much black, but when it hits the light you'll see it a blue overtone, just so we can get something different. And I'm not mad at that. That was a natural progression. We went from the long ears to the short ears. We went from the black suit to something that was dark gray and old school, reminiscent of what we've seen before, more towards the comic books. So because Arkham is such a big thing and everyone loves Arkham and it has its own following, why not go the Arkham right, but also do something to differentiate itself from everything else? I did see a touch up of it where people did in the bat thing to kind of compensate for the lack of yellow in the bat symbol, since we've seen like the first two Batman movies with Tim Burton. We haven't really seen the yellow with the bat symbol. I've seen someone go in and touch it up just to give it different type of colored aesthetics, and they actually showed in the Batwing gold details, which was kind of cool because it was reminiscent of, there used to be yellow in there, but what they did was they used gold detailing. It's kind of how like they did for Ben Affleck with a little bit of gold on the knuckles and the gold on the arm, so you could kind of see a differentiation of it. You've seen it in the chest, and I thought that was fascinating if they actually went that route, but I don't think so. Even though this is a red tinted thing, it doesn't give you anything that would allude to the fact that there's any gold or yellow highlights or detailing inside the bat symbol, like any of the gear, maybe even if it was gold bolts in it, just to, because it looked like it was gold trimmed in certain areas, and I thought that was kind of dope. But it doesn't look like you're gonna see that in there. That was just a touch up, which was a kind of like an ingenious thing to add, because I could see them do that. But at the end of the day, now let's go to the thing that everyone is most focused on. Again, another close-up shot of the chest piece, but the head. Now, here is a speculatory for me. And again, as you can see, that's why his forehead is more pronounced than his actual nose. His nose looks more in, and his forehead is coming out ahead of his nose, because that's just how his face is shaped. And his mouth, the lower part of his jawline sticks out more than his nose does, if that makes sense. So it wasn't a surprise. That's why you'll have such a deep bridge in his forehead. Like, his forehead stops there and it goes deep into his sockets, but that's just how his head is made, which I am not mad. I do like how they worked his brows into it, because that's how it is. So play off of it. It makes it deeper. The eyes sink deeper in. It's cool. The thing I'm interested in that you cannot see here, and I'm not sure that they're gonna do, is I have this weird feeling that they might not actually use the black eyeliner underneath it, and you'll actually see the flesh of his eyes through it. I have a weird feeling that they might play with that just to separate himself apart from everyone else. Everyone's worried about, will his eyes glow like in the comics, and we've seen that. Whatchamacallit did a version of it with the eyes glue. We've seen that with Ben Affleck's version when he was in the army. But like I said, Chris Nolan did it when he used the sound waves to bounce off through the cell phones. He did that. The eyes was glowing, like it went over the eyes, so he could he used sonar. So we've seen that kind of version. I'm cool if they do it again. I like it, but it would make sense because the way the cowl kind of shifts all the way around, I can see him use that as a way to scare people, as a practicality. You can see the stitch work, and it really looks like it's leather. It does look like it kind of is handmade and rough, so it's cool. It looks costumey, but that's what they were going for. And when they said that's what they were going for, then I wasn't really mad, because this looks exactly like the aim that they were going for, and kudos to them for actually achieving it. It's just all about the ears for me. I want to know if it's the short ears or the long ears. It looked like it could be somewhere in the middle, but that's the thing that's going to set the costume up, if it's going to be the short ears or the long ears. But that's, for the most part, that's it. I mean, you'll see the comparisons of and this is what I said with the Charlie Cox, because even his nose, the way his face is made, his jaw sticks out a little bit more, but the way his nose is and how the mask was, they made that mask it's looking like he was doing a headbutt, so it mushes his, smashes his nose in more. And that's what you're seeing here. It looks like that's smashing his nose in more because his nose is, that's how his nose is. And it's starting to come off like a headbutt. Like I said, like this headbutt, but it's because he's more head than it is actually. Daredevil, and it looks like the Daredevil helmet is the way it's designed. It looks like it's coming head forward, like it's in mid headbutt, and especially because it's pushing in his nose more, and it doesn't cover all of his nose. It looks like it's mashing his nose in, and it looks like his forehead is coming out more. That's why I'm not surprised we get that kind of illusion. But either way you look at it, I still like what I see. I'm not losing it the way everyone else is over it, but I'm not exactly mad like everybody else is bitching over it. It looks like Batman to me. I don't know what you was expecting. But in any event, that's all I got to get to it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like what you see? A lot of people are talking about it. I mean, jump in the comment section. Let's go chop it up together about it. Let's see, do you like it? Do you dislike it? Are you excited for the film? I mean, let me know in the comments